When Mateus Cunha was asked whether a run of 5 consecutive victories was a target so that the long-haired guy could finally get a haircut, he answered bluntly that he cared more about 15 points than about anyone's hair. It wasn't motivation, it wasn't interesting, it wasn't something worth worrying about. Bruno Fernandes echoed a similar sentiment. The manager insisted the story would not affect the team's preparation. Yet in football, as in life, the very need to emphasize "I don't care" sometimes suggests that, at some level, it has struck a nerve. The story of that hair belongs to Frank Ilett, a figure the online community nicknamed United Strand, a playful twist on the United Stand, the well-known global fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. The name feels both familiar and ironic. Stand morphs into strand, a lock of hair, and just like that, what began as a simple football content channel turned into a symbolic challenge. No haircut until Manchester United win 5 consecutive matches in all competitions. Back in October 2024, it was meant to be a light-hearted idea during a gloomy spell at Old Trafford. Manchester United were struggling, performances inconsistent, belief eroding among supporters. Frank Ilett, a former pub manager who had worked in local council administration before moving to Spain with his partner and young daughter to live off savings, wanted to inject a bit of positivity. He believed the team would soon rediscover their winning rhythm. 5 consecutive victories did not sound unreasonable for a club with such a decorated history. But modern football rarely follows romantic expectations. The 5-game winning streak remained elusive, and Frank Ilett's hair grew longer by the week. Ironically, United's poor form fueled his rise. From obscurity, he entered the world of content creation at astonishing speed. His Instagram following climbed past 1.4 or 1.5 million. At one peak, as United approached a 4th straight win, he gained over 700,000 new followers. A live stream during a match against West Ham drew roughly 250,000 concurrent viewers, a figure many traditional broadcasters would envy. Major outlets such as The Telegraph, CBS, CNN, Sky Sports, and the Daily Mail interviewed him. What seemed like a harmless social media joke began to surface inside Manchester United's dressing room. Mateus Cunha revealed that the hair had been discussed publicly, even framed as a kind of symbolic pressure to win. And suddenly, the boundary between content and competition blurred. Commercial value followed swiftly. Frank Ilett signed with a talent management agency and began securing sponsorships. A grooming brand announced a partnership, ready to send clippers the moment United claimed their 5th straight victory. Shampoo and body wash brands lined up to feature in his videos. In an era where attention converts directly into revenue, even a growing hairstyle can become an asset. Still, Frank Ilett insists money was never the original motive. He has raised more than £6,000 for Little Princess Trust, a charity that provides real hair wigs to children battling cancer, and plans to donate his entire ponytail once it is cut. Previously, he had supported other charitable causes as well. He says his only aim was to make people smile during a bleak period for the club he loves. When the 5th win arrives, he intends to cut his hair into sections for donation and then shave it completely, a symbolic fresh start. Yet reality refused to follow a tidy script. The winning run did not materialize, and the longer it dragged on, the bigger the phenomenon became. Some Manchester United supporters embraced Frank Ilett as comic relief amid disappointment, a harmless figure embodying hope that better days would come. Others, however, felt uneasy. To them, seeing the club's image entangled in a viral social media joke was uncomfortable. Manchester United, in their eyes, should represent authority and prestige, not the punchline of an internet challenge. The discomfort occasionally spilled over. There was even an incident in which a supporter tugged at Frank Ilett's hair at Old Trafford, suspecting him of exploiting the club's struggles for fame. For more traditional fans, he symbolized a hyper-commercialized football culture, where content feeds off the game, or perhaps the game feeds off content, and the distinction grows increasingly unclear. The Guardian wryly noted that many matches are remembered for reasons far beyond their original significance, from the 1914 Christmas truce to the Battle of Santiago in 1962 to the final pre-pandemic clash between Liverpool and Atletico Madrid in 2020. Now, it suggested, a fairly ordinary 1-1 draw at the London Stadium might be recalled as the match of the long-haired man. Discussions about his hair overshadowed pre-match build-up, live commentary, and much of the post-match analysis. Wayne Rooney admitted he found the whole saga maddening and joked about sending Frank Ilett to the other side of the country. Michael Antonio quipped that perhaps the haircut would have to wait even longer. Rival fans seized the opportunity for mockery. In a meme-driven ecosystem, the hair became irresistible material. But beyond the jokes lies a broader reflection of modern football. Clubs do not exist solely to compete, they exist to maintain presence, generate engagement, and sustain attention. When performances falter, that vacuum is filled by satellite figures, YouTubers, streamers, influencers. They do not cause defeats on the pitch, but they amplify and monetize the narrative around them. So does Frank Ilett benefit? Undoubtedly, he profits from the visibility surrounding Manchester United. But does that mean he harbors ill intent toward the club? There is little evidence of that. United's inability to string together 5 wins has nothing to do with one supporter's haircut. In fact, from another angle, the story could serve as motivation. If players feel embarrassed by the association with a viral joke, the simplest way to silence it is by winning on the pitch. At the heart of the matter lies a divided fan base. Manchester United support splits between traditional local fans rooted at Old Trafford's history and a vast international community thriving online. The latter may see Frank Ilett as part of contemporary fan culture. The former often cherish an image of dignity and dominance. For them, a viral hair challenge can feel like an intrusion into sacred territory. Yet it is difficult to argue that the phenomenon directly harms anyone. Frank Ilett has not insulted players or undermined the club. He simply wagered his appearance on his team's success. In a world obsessed with visibility, where views and engagement are modern currency, he found a way to navigate the system. And perhaps some of his loudest critics also leverage the same story to drive their own engagement. Ultimately, Frank Ilett's hair is symbolic. It does not score goals, defend crosses, or dictate tactics, but it reflects an era in which football is inseparable from social media. An unknown supporter can become a global media figure simply by waiting for 5 consecutive wins. A routine draw can be remembered for something entirely unrelated to footballing quality. When that 5th victory eventually arrives, if it does, Frank Ilett will cut his hair. He may shave it off completely, handing those strands to children who need them more. The chapter will close, but the story will linger as a snapshot of our time. An age when football is not only played, but streamed, clipped, debated, and transformed into content. And perhaps somewhere in a dressing room, when the players once again hear about that hair, they will smile, because in the end, the only way to silence the noise has always been the same: win on the pitch.